Everyone hopefully is checked in. Hopefully everyone's checked in. For roll call, at this time we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Supervisor Powers.
Eternal Creator, look with compassion on the whole human family. May we shake off the arrogance and hatred which infect our hearts. May the walls that separate us be broken down. May the bonds of love unite us through our work and through our struggles, forging all nations, races, and peoples to live in harmony. Amen. Come on, slide up here.
Couple things tonight before we get started. If you wish to speak tonight on anything to the board, there's clipboards and pinned back by each one of the microphones back there. If you'll put your name and address on there, it makes it easier for the girls to go back if they don't catch it on their mic. So if you'll please sign in on them. And the budget workshop video is on the county website. If anyone wants to see that, if you weren't able to make it, it is on the county website at this time. And I might as well bring this up right away. On the consent agenda, number 8, ordinance number 01803092025 is being pulled off consent at this time. Adoption of this evening's agenda, Vice Chairman Fari. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Carried. Public comment. At this time, be allowed for persons to express their opinions on any resolution or ordinance that appears on the agenda, as well as any matter over which this body has jurisdiction. The only thing that we have to say as far as board members, that you eliminate it to 2 minutes. Just come forward to either one of the mics, state your name and address. Also, don't forget to sign up on the board there and state what you'd like to say. Anyone wishing to come forward at this time?
Oh. Are we set?
Yes.
Good. First, I have a question. Are we past this COVID, or what's the purpose of this screen? Jay Schrader, 1295 North Lake Street, Neenah, Wisconsin, Village of Fox Crossing. And my question is, are we past COVID, or what's the purpose of this screen here? I don't know. I think it should be removed. I guess COVID days are over. I have a hat here. And if you look closely, I was sent this hat, and it's got the Turning Point symbol on it. I worked for Turning Point. And I think this sales tax proposal, if Charlie Kirk would be here, or could be here, he'd probably testify against it. Because it's a $17 to $20 million tax grab of the taxpayers. You know, I talk to people and I show them this petition against the sales tax. You know, about 95% of the people sign it. They don't want no more taxes. Government is to live within its means. Can you imagine if you're the county executive and you got another $20 million to play with every year? Holy mackerel, this is the Christmas resolution. You should change the name of it. We pay the bills. We pay the bills. You're our servants. You should do what we want to do. Check your heart and your soul. We went through enough of this. What did this federal income tax start out as? 0.5%? Here we are, 0.5%. Just do the right thing. Heal the country. Do the right thing. Protect us. Limit government. Just do that, please. Thank you.
All right. Jordan Hansen, 423 West 12th Avenue in Oshkosh. I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed sales tax. We just had our taxes raised, our property taxes raised. I know there's some issues with that, and it might be revised a little bit. But taxes are going up. My taxes went up quite a bit. My escrow at least certainly did. They're still taken out for that. We don't need another 0.5% sales tax. We need more fiscal responsibility. We're hurting. Prices are gone up for everything. Our cost of living has gone up. Our wages haven't gone up. Okay? Adding another 0.5% sales tax might only be $50, $60 a person per year, but that's still money in our pockets. Still the opportunity to go and do things that we want to do and enjoy the lives we have. All right? I know we have the opportunity to consolidate some buildings and stuff like that. I know that's being floated. I don't know if a focus group has been put together for that, but it seems like we have the opportunity to save $20 to $30 million by maybe consolidating or building a new building, and that over time, that could save us a lot of money. I'm not sure that we really need to raise taxes in order to cover our expenses right now. In general, it seems to be a trend in government to borrow money and then raise taxes to pay the interest. And if I wouldn't recommend somebody else do that to finance their life, why should I recommend the government do that to finance all of our lives? Unfortunately, it impacts all of us. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Steve Goodman. I live in Neenah. Can you hear me? I'm kind of opposing to the increase in sales tax. I don't remember ever hearing an explanation of how the additional funds were going to be used. There was a comment made that it would be used to reduce property taxes. There was another comment made that it's inevitable that we will have to have this sales tax increase for some reason I'm not really sure. I don't believe we're gonna feel the difference in property taxes. It's just a little bit difficult to call the balls and the strikes in the accounting system that's out there. Property values go up every year, and along with it, so do the property taxes. I have a hard time understanding why we can't live within the means that we have. Let's see. If the property taxes do go up, I'm sure that the response is going to be, think of what they'd be if we didn't have this tax. I don't believe that. I don't know how you plan on using the money. Is 100% of it going to go to property tax relief? I'm not sure exactly what the thought is, but these are things that everybody would need to know. And I do think that it's going to hurt the poorest people the most. I don't happen to be one of the poorest people around, but I know some people who are, and they're going to feel it a lot. And I think if everybody's concerned about the welfare of the poor people, this is a chance to not impact them in a bad way. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bob Schmeichel. I live at 215 Mandela Court in the town of Neenah. I am the town of Neenah chairman. I am also the chairman of the unit Winnebago County of all the towns in Winnebago County. And I just recently got appointed to the director for all 13 counties on the east side of the state. So I run, but I can't hide. I'll use that statement in a little bit. Sales tax. I just got out of a meeting with a lot of county representatives talking about this very issue. There's positive and there's not positive on both sides. I will tell you that right now. Our county, even our towns association units, I've got pluses and I have not so many pluses. But what you as a county board have to look at is where the pluses and minuses even out. And how that references how the county board is handling in-house monies. I'm not sure. I know some very good people on this county board. I've talked to everybody, and I'm thinking, I would go towards a tax, but then I hear, well, we should really take care of in-house first. So you guys got a good decision in front of you, but make it a good decision. And if you have a good debate, you will make a good decision, because I know there's a good resolution coming up. So what I'm asking you, the Towns Association would like fair revenue sharing across the board. That's my main message. Thank you.
Is there anyone wishing to speak tonight? Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Cameron Crandall, 351 Northwest Haven Drive, and I'd like to urge you all, but specifically my district supervisor, Brenda Pluchinski, to vote no on this resolution, Resolution 179. From what I understood at the last meeting, only about 20% of the revenue levied by this tax is covered by those visiting, and it hits seniors, renters, and those families who are struggling the most. So I just don't understand why we can't balance our funds. This is something that we should have done long ago, but I would urge you all to vote no. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing?
My name is Joan Patterson, 2430 Parkside Drive in Oshkosh. I want to thank everyone who's spoken already and those who will yet speak tonight. A very wise man once said, when people stop talking, really bad stuff starts happening. That's Charlie Kirk. God rest his soul. I think as a board who represents the people of Winnebago County, you need to vote based on what is best for the people of Winnebago County. When you look at the percentages of families in our county who live at or below poverty level, this is where the 0.5% sales tax increase will be felt. When young adults cannot afford to rent an apartment, let alone purchase a home of their own, the increase will be felt. When someone needs to purchase a used car, because who can afford a new one, the tax increase will be felt. To many, a $4,000 used car is a stretch. The added $20 this tax will add will be felt by them even more. I have a daughter who's married. She and her husband both have very good jobs, and we're finally able to purchase an okay home, but they don't have a lot of extra money, and I just advise them to live within their means, which is what I also advise you to do. In 2024, there were 173,307 people in Winnebago County. Of those, only 49,418 owned homes. Only 28% of people would benefit from a property tax cut as a result of this sales tax increase. So again, it doesn't benefit those living at or below poverty level. Tonight I ask you to be grateful if you are one of those people who this tax will barely be felt in your budget or in your pocketbook. This isn't about left versus right, Republican versus Democrat, we versus they. We need to work together for the benefit of our county as a whole. I urge you to vote no tonight.
Anyone else in the audience? Anyone else?
Hello, Bill Paulno, 534 South Lake Street in Neenah. I serve as an alderman in District 3, so I know exactly the trials and tribulations with budgeting. We do it all the time. I just want to, last month I was here and I commented on the low-income folks, such as my sisters on Social Security and my renters, who are definitely workforce housing. But I think the most important thing is to do the work as elected officials. So I was very encouraged last month when I was here. All the supervisors that mentioned do the work, get more into the weeds like we as elected officials do. So in that vein, I pulled up the minutes from the facilities meeting that was on the 26th, which is a week after this meeting. Thank you. And now you see the notes in there that Director Easker, or I'm sorry, not Director Easker, Director Elder, who said that the costs they're not really 1.7 million a year, they're 900,000 a year. So that's good news, there's less. But I also found it very interesting that, I'll just read it. Mike Elder explained that during budget meetings that he had, they want to take on custodial services for Whitman Airport, Highway Department, and the Solid Waste Department, and also add 4 staff members in that vein. And I find it very interesting that after all this energy spoken about the supervisors about doing the work, that the next facility meetings, the work wasn't done. Other work was done, as always is the case. But as elected officials, I think you need to maybe refer this to I've advocated for either ad hoc committee or some kind of special committee to really get into the weeds about these buildings and the campus, to know exactly what you're saving. Because yeah, there's costs being incurred, that's obvious. But what are you saving with, if you sold some of these buildings on deferred maintenance and all that, to see a whole picture? And you haven't done that work. So this is the cart before the horse. So please, I would say either refer this to a special committee or vote no. Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience wishing to speak?
First timer here. Chris Altoff, 1835 Fairview Street, Oshkosh. Just wanted to step up here and say no to new taxes. Pretty stupid for me to even have to come up here and say that. Stop. It's so stupid. I should have wrote something really long and eloquent, but it is my first time. Stop. No new taxes. Let's be responsible. And that's not even just from a fiscally conservative standpoint. It's just like, what did you join this board? What's your prerogative? Like, it should be the overall wellness of everybody in the community and this county. So, no. Have a good night.
Anyone else? Anyone else in the audience? Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? Who do you have?
Good afternoon. My name is Cameron from 1078 Oxford Court here in Neenah. I spoke to you last meeting. If you hear kids in the background, that is what is inevitable for me. More expenses. I've got 3 young girls, so there's going to be a lot of clothes. There's going to be a lot of school supplies. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be subject to the sales tax. But this sales tax is not inevitable. I've heard a lot of talk about having to have this. I've heard a lot of talk about revenue share. I don't get revenue share. That's not something that happens to me. There isn't some magic check that comes to the families in this county, to the seniors who are now having to deal with property tax increases and are on fixed budgets. We don't get that. So while I'm sympathetic to what the townships may want, at the end of the day, if you guys have revenue issues at the town level, you have to deal with it at the town level. The county needs to look at what is best for the county and for the citizens they represent. And I can tell you, for me, when that bank account gets pretty darn low, this would impact what I have to do as a father. This would impact what expenditures I can make for my children, regardless of how noisy they are on Zoom calls. So I could speak to my supervisor, Jim Wise. I've called you on this. Please vote no on this. And if I can speak to the whole board of supervisors, this is not needed. It is not inevitable. And this does not offset any other taxes. This is just an increase, one we don't need. Thank you.
Another one, Cassie? Jennifer, can you hear us? Jennifer, can you hear us? Try it one more time. Jennifer, can you hear us? Jennifer, if you could unmute yourself. It shows that you're muted. Try one more time. Jennifer, could you unmute yourself? Anyone else? Well, we tried our best, but we couldn't get a hold of Jennifer, so we'll move on.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. I have not used Teams before. Okay. I'm glad you can hear me. I'm Jennifer Kozer. I live in Winnebago. I'm speaking tonight regarding the resolution 0179 authorizing the submission of an ordinance establishing a Winnebago County sales and use tax. I am against this resolution and I ask that you please vote against it tonight. Also, last month during the county executive Hintz's speech that he made or presentation he made about the sales tax, he mentioned that one of the ideas to use the money for, in case this passes, is to spend approximately $80 million on a new county courthouse. I just wanted to say that I'm definitely against that as well. I hope this does not pass and that you will vote against it. But I would like to say I don't think we should be spending any money on new buildings right now. It sounds like we can't even afford to pay to maintain the ones that we have. So I actually think it'd be a good idea to consolidate, as other people have said, and maybe sell off some property that the county owns that we can do without. I think that would be far better than raising people's taxes. And now my mother is here and she'd like to speak as well. So she's gonna start now. Thank you for listening.
Hi there, this is Diane Kozer from Winnebago. I am not in favor of an increase in the county sales tax, and I ask that you vote no on that resolution. The board recently purchased the UW Fox Valley Extension property, which from what I've heard costs $1.6 million each year to maintain. Before extracting more taxes from the citizens, because we are already taxed very highly on everything from the minute we're born till after we die, selling that property would be a big step in the right direction of handling the budget. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Cassie? Okay. Anyone from the back one last time? Someone pointing to someone that wanted to speak? Okay, that part is closed. Next is communication from the county clerk.
Good evening, everyone. We have 3 petitions for zoning that will all be referred to the Planning and Zoning Committee. The first one is from Danny Bouger for the town of Winchester to rezone from R1 Rural Residential District to A2 General Agriculture District. The second one is for Thomas and Deborah Rosenfeld, Living Trust in the town of Neenah, to rezone from A2 General Agriculture District to R1 Rural Residential District. And the third one is for the town of Clayton to rezone from A2 General Agriculture District to R4 Multifamily Residential District. And that's all I have.
Okay, next is reports from committees, commissions, and boards. Push your button to call in, or I don't see any. Julie said they should be working if you want to call in. So if anyone's trying. Supervisor Hintz? Are you trying, or do you want to talk?
Yeah, I've tried like 3 times. Glad it finally worked. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next week at our facility, I want to bring this up, especially in light of what Mr. Palmo said back here. We have our Facilities and Property Management Committee meeting next Tuesday at 3:30 PM at the Facilities Building. And item number 6 on our agenda is discussion of master plan implementation. Just because there has been no action on the master plan does not mean we are not trying to get all of the information and find out what the costs are for what we have for maintenance versus what we would have to spend in order to do something. And all of those discussions are fluid and they are in the works. And I want to assure everybody who's listening, everybody who's here in attendance, everybody who's paying attention at home and will watch this video in the future, yes, we are working on all of those things. We are trying to find the smartest way to go forward so we do not have to put an undue burden on any taxpayers in the county. And nothing is going to happen overnight. This is a process like anything with government. It's going to take time, and we need to find the right way to move forward on this. So again, I just want to assure everybody that yes, this is in the works, and if you are interested in it, that meeting is available. You can, if you can't make the meeting, you can tune in, and if any supervisors that are here would like to come speak your piece on this, by all means come. We're also going to be voting on the, oh God, I forgot the name of it now. The General Code Public Works, work performed by county departments, which was also touched upon with us taking over those 3 departments for their facilities custodial services, because it is far less expensive for the county to perform these tasks than it is for us to hire them out, which is what what was being done. So we're trying to find our ways to save money for the county. It's not a budget fix, but every little bit moves towards that budget fix. So I just wanted to take that time and get all of this out there so that way everybody knows what's going on and that we have a meeting next week. Thank you.
Anyone else? Committee, commissions, or boards? Supervisor Holt.
I very much appreciated the budget workshops. I thought they were informative, helpful. I appreciated Jamie and every director/deputy's work in preparing the budget. I think that it's an improvement over last year, and I think we still have a long way to go in priority-based budgeting. I just wanted to say thank you to that group for making themselves available to answer the questions that we all had.
Anyone else? Call in or raise your hand. Last chance. You got anyone? That's them too. Okay, not seeing anyone else, we'll move right on from there. County Executive Report and Appointments.
Wanted to give an update on the Fox Cities campus. We've received the preliminary facilities assessment, and the good news is we did not get any major red flags from the vendor. That's not to say the buildings are in perfect condition, far from it, but Department Head Elder's team has been working to reassemble boilers that were left disassembled, patch walls, and so on. But the top line news is that we have solid structural buildings. The Fox Cities campus has been a longtime partner of the Fox Cities Marathon, and with the race beginning on campus, and we've signed a lease with the Marathon to allow them the use of our facilities on September 21st. As we look to restore operations at the Communication Arts Center and Fieldhouse, we've had 3 management companies in the buildings in the last couple of weeks and are awaiting proposals about the best utilization of the space, but getting these facilities back online as quickly as possible to be used is a priority. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be touring the campus with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, some area prospective developers, the consultant who designed the big Thrivent redevelopment project, as well as the Fox Cities Chamber Director to get a sense of the larger investment ideas and interest in the 43-acre property. Recently met with the Mayor of Menasha and his Community Development Director on ways we can work together, given that it's a big priority for them as well. We also have a tour Friday with a company interested in potentially making an investment in some of the existing lab space.
redevelopment, we sort of have, how do we get the initial, facilities that serve the public up and running as we develop a longer-term redevelopment plan. Redevelopment tends to be a long-term project, and we don't expect any immediate results. We're going to get the feedback from our meetings tomorrow. We do have an RFP ready for the redevelopment of the property that will give us key information about the potential to develop new tax base, preserve the cultural assets, and try to add value on the project through the development of housing, jobs, or entrepreneurship. The 2026 budget includes expenses at the Fox Cities campus as well as revenue from the Barlow. If we can get one of the management groups we've been meeting with for further leasing for the CAC and Field House, that'll increase revenue and decrease the reserve fund application to support the campus. I want to mention that we at the end of last month, we held the employee appreciation events to recognize the workers that we have that really keep the county running. It's the bread and butter of our organization is the service that the men and women from Winnebago County do as a service-driven organization. It's kind of hard to figure out what is the best way that is cost-effective to try to let people know that you recognize and appreciate their work. We try to be creative. We got good weather, and Adam Belcaroli in my office came up with the idea that we had food trucks come out to Parkview, the sheriff's office, the Neenah and Oshkosh Human Services office, the airport, and the administration building over 3 separate days, and the county provided employees with vouchers for a complimentary meal and dessert treat, but more importantly, a goal to create space where people could pause, feel valued, and connect with one another outside of the normal pace of work. We had a second food truck stop out at the sheriff's office at the evening shift change, and employees who weren't able to attend were given gift cards to Quick Trip or Festival so they could pick out their own meal or treat. We reached a larger percentage of the workforce than we've been able to with other previous recognition events, with over close to 1,100 county employees using their lunch vouchers. So that's a pretty high percentage. Not easy to put together. We have one department we need to get to yet, the highway department. It didn't work logistically with their schedule, but we're working on something for them as well to make sure that we can reach everybody. I appreciate Supervisor Holt recognizing the budget workshops that we held last week. We did one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I think about 2/3 of supervisors were able to attend. A lot of the ones that couldn't mention they couldn't make it in advance. They're worth watching if you have time to stream them. We had good attendance, and we appreciate the questions we got. It gave us some things to look up, and that we'll be getting back in touch with you, but sharing the assumptions, the key new programs and initiatives, and the fund level summaries. I think this was the first budget workshop that we're aware of the county has done, and we hope to improve on the process for next year. So please continue to share feedback on how we can improve the process in the future. Just at a highline level, for those who missed out, I'd say the top level things to note, we were able to reduce the structural deficit from $8.5 million to $7.2 million. About 29% of that fund balance went to one-time purchases or supporting the Fox Cities campus. I do expect the application of the reserve funds that we use to decrease as a result of 2 things with uncertain outcomes at the time we finalized the budget proposal. One was the management of the CAC and the Field House. If we're able to generate more revenue, obviously we're going to use less in fund balance to balance the budget. But also on Thursday, the Parkview Committee will consider an increase or an adjustment to private pay rates that would increase revenues by more than $100,000. One consequence of publishing the budget early is that there's more time for new information to arise, and we may have a couple amendments that bring the budget into line with new actions, like altering the private pay rates. Supervisors were given the department by department line item budgets, and the full budget books will be available in about 2 weeks. Our team really worked hard to move things up so we could do the workshop when we did. We probably got to give ourselves a little more time to get everything done exactly when we want it to. But hopefully you got the budget and brief book tonight. Maybe don't touch that ink because we got 50 printed and the rest of them are still being printed, so it's pretty fresh. But we wanted to get it delivered, more than a month before it's typically provided. and hope that this facilitates an enhanced review and amendment process by committees and the board, and really more public engagement on the budget. I know in the past, some supervisors have been told not to reach out to department heads. I want to be clear, every one of you should feel free to contact department heads as you review, evaluate, and consider amending the budget. Our corporate counsel has already been working on amendments, and you should send in your amendments as early as you can so you can help prepare consistent, clear, and implementable amendments. I mentioned the budget in briefs. We'll have more copies available for all of you if you want to distribute some to supervisors. Your constituents. We were looking at printing up to 300. It's only 12 pages, but it's a more digestible presentation of, some themes in county government, changes that were made, and, we're really trying to find a way to highlight the priorities of what county government does. The next step in the budget process really is for committees to review the budgets of their department of jurisdiction. Over the next month, each committee will spend time reviewing their department budgets. The committees that work with these programs throughout the year will facilitate a process to explore the proposed budget, and it's a good opportunity to have the committee of jurisdiction review and vet amendments. We are going to notice these meetings so that committee members or other supervisors can introduce amendments at the committee meeting to get a committee vote on amendments. I think doing so will show a level of vetting from that committee of jurisdiction and aid in a more publicly transparent process. I'm going to ask committee chairs to be a little more lenient with other supervisors who might want to attend and ask questions during the budget items, since that's really the opportunity to weigh in. I think this committee level step will be important for supervisors to take part in. Chairman Egan and I have spoken about what sort of the end of October budget meetings are going to look like, and I think we plan on a shorter process when we get together on October 27th, because we've done the budget workshops and we'll have had greater review at the committee level, where we were not going to need to have department heads come before the full board on that first Monday of budget week and present to the board. Staff will be on hand to answer questions about their department, proposed amendments, and so on. But I don't think it's going to be a 3-day marathon of understanding, amending, and passing the budget all within a 3-day window. I'll give a budget address to start the proceedings, and then supervisors can ask questions by department, and we'll move into amendments and final passage of the budget. This is a new process for us, but I want to make sure folks understand, so please ask questions if you have any. Lastly, on the budget, I'm going to be holding at least 6 listening sessions to engage the public really on county government and on our budget. And at these events, we'll give an overview presentation on county government and the budget and give the community a chance to provide feedback. We will have the budget and brief booklets available at these events, and I invite all supervisors to join any or all of these, and we'll have the clerk notice these as a possible quorum of the board or committees. All of the listening sessions will be at 6 p.m. I'll make sure that we email these out as well, but we're starting next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The first one being at the Fox Cities campus on Tuesday, the 23rd, at 6 p.m. at the Barlow entrance. We're still finalizing the room. At the airport in Oshkosh on Wednesday, the 24th. We're still getting confirmation. We were hoping for the town of Algoma, but we weren't able to get that confirmed on the 25th. And then we're at the Omro Community Center on the 7th, the Winnebago Village Hall on the 8th, and the Neenah Police Department Community Room on October 9th. For now, that's what we've done. If you have ideas or you'd like us to bring we're kind of designing sort of a consolidated presentation show that is a little bit of this is county government and this is our budget, knowing that you don't want to alienate anybody when you're I don't want to just throw a bunch of numbers at people and say, here's, tens of millions of dollars, and here's, you want to talk about, here's what the county does, here's what to think about, here's what we tried to prioritize, here's the challenges we face, here's the challenges we face going forward, here's where we tried to save money, those kind of things. So again, I want to invite all supervisors to join me at any of these. And please, we want to get word out to our constituents. We all know that, a lot of people don't know the great work that county government does, and I think it's going to be more important that we engage our constituents on that work. COSIP grant. A few weeks ago, we heard from the Solutions Recovery staff and members about a grant program that was not currently available to submit applications. It happened to be that the day after that presentation, we were alerted that the grant application process was going to be moving forward, and that we're expecting the application period to open in the next month or so, but we'll be waiting. We'll be waiting for information from the Department of Justice on next steps. So that's another item that we hope to get more information and action on during the actual budget deliberation process. And I know there was obviously a lot of interest in that, and we'll do our best to keep folks informed. Lastly, the sales tax. Last month, at the request of some supervisors, unrelated to the resolution presented, I did a general information presentation on how the Wisconsin County Sales Tax, local option tax works, what it was, how it could be used, pros and cons. But I also said that any consideration of the sales tax has to be thoughtful, detailed, transparent, and follow a plan to address any long-term needs of the county and our residents. As I mentioned about the budget, we're increasing our debt service and our capital improvement plan investment to address our increasing deferred maintenance costs. We currently have $67 million in deferred maintenance, but our county faces real challenges in the years ahead. When you repair roofs or replace boilers in buildings that don't suit our capacity and don't save any money or operational savings, you're throwing good money at bad projects before long. The reality is a lot of the infrastructure needs that we have are about new buildings. They're about consolidation. They're about operational efficiency. And those kind of challenges require some new money to save operational money. We have 138 buildings, and I believe a consultant suggested we could eliminate 25 of them if we were able to consolidate. And one of the reasons that the courthouse was brought up is it doesn't work operationally. You have murderers riding elevators with their victims, families here, because we don't have any separation. We don't have any way for the DAs and judges to make their way into the building. It's functionally obsolete, not to mention that its utilities and HVAC system and everything else is expensive and increasingly costly to repair. It was one that was in the master plan presentation that all of you heard that was towards the top from a cost standpoint and an operational standpoint, that if you were to replace something from a functional standpoint, from an operational saving standpoint, one that you would look at. But everybody after that presentation said, how would we ever come up with the money? And that's something for us to discuss. In the coming months, I will propose a phase one of a broader plan for county buildings for review and consideration by the Facilities Committee and the County Board. This plan will not call for $350 million mega campus included in the recent consultant study, but it will also not be a continuation of the past with incremental improvements to deficient buildings. We're going to need to work together to figure out how to fund new buildings and what level of funding we can afford over a reasonable period of time. And I look forward to working with Facilities Committee Chairman Hins and the rest of the Facilities Committee and the board on taking action and not continuing to punt these decisions to future boards. I'll also mention that the proposed budget still has a structural deficit, even though we've reduced it. We've had that for a long time. Our stable reserve funds are a result of that deficit not being realized through underspending in the budget or achieving extra revenue. I expect this budget's going to come closer to the actuals, and as we do so, we're going to have to keep an eye on our reserve fund and how long we can classify it as stable heading into the future. I say the things about capital needs and the built-in deficit because consideration of any sales tax option should be done holistically to consider the county's costly infrastructure needs and long-term budget shortfalls, as well as the potential delivery of property tax relief to residents of Winnebago County. As for the sales tax resolution before you tonight, I have strong reservations about municipal revenue sharing with the immediate and future needs of the county. In addition, I think the lack of a detailed and accountable plan that the public can understand needs to be addressed before any kind of a ordinance of whatever kind involving a sales tax moves forward. Like I mentioned at the presentation I made 2 meetings ago, the reason that we haven't had a sales tax and that we're one of 2 counties without a sales tax is, 1, we haven't needed it, and 2, there hasn't been a plan for what we would do with it. And I think those things still hold true. We didn't include it in the budget because we didn't need it. And I don't know that there's support for it because a plan that the public can follow, that the public finds value in, that effectively serves our constituents, hasn't been brought forward and demonstrated with need. So with that, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Happy to take if there's any questions.
Supervisor Nussbaum.
Thank you. So does that mean that you are opposed to this resolution for the tax increase?
I do not support a 30%, yes. How's that?
Supervisor Hens.
Save myself time. I'm getting better at this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, that caught me off guard. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed that we didn't have the big event for all county employees. It was great to have everybody from all the different departments together for those type. I also understand with Sunnyview being under construction the way it is, it's probably not a good year to do that out there. So I'll give you a little leeway on that. But going forward, I think that was a great event where people who attended it it was great. We'd be able to meet people from different departments. And as far as the budget meetings go, I was a little frustrated because there wasn't really much communication. It was kind of a last-second change. I had everything set to make it to that Thursday meeting. I couldn't make it to the Wednesday meeting. And I guess maybe a little more communication, reaching out. I'd say the same thing about the budget event that you're having in my district. At that Wednesday, I won't be able to make it either. And I know we tried to work together on it, and then I didn't hear anything else. So maybe, something like that, for next year. I'd love to be at it if you're going to have it at the airport again, because that is in my district. And otherwise, I'd like to say I'm hopeful that this budget process is going to work the way you have it intended it. You've been very open, got ahead of the curve, and we'll see when the end of October comes around. Thank you.
Supervisor Buck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and just want to say thank you to the county executive team. In years past, those who've been on the board, specifically in recent, were told that they shouldn't be talking to the department heads, and the committee chairs were shut out of that. And I just want to encourage all my colleagues here. It's our job to question the department heads. It's our job to find savings, and I just encourage all of us to do that and question them. And I'll bring up the custodial thing that was done by an amendment at the last minute, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should be thought out, and this kind of transparent process with having these budget listening sessions. This hasn't been done before, so if Supervisor Hintz can't make the one in his district, there was plenty more there, and so I appreciate the public input. I don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody in this room thinks they have all the answers, and so having the public, having their voices heard, I think is extremely impactful. So thank you.
Supervisor Lopes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say that I loved the budget meeting as well. It really made me like start going through everything much more closely. However, I was wondering, is this online? If it isn't, can we put it online, and can we get a consistent barcode, QR code?
Great question. I know like I said, we just got it to the printer. I know we're going to have it online, and we'll make sure to distribute that. And I think the QR code's a great idea. If someone smarter than me hopefully thought of that.
Thank you.
Supervisor Hancock-Cook.
Thank you, Chairman. I also would echo that the budget meetings are good to continue to help to educate us all. I am the last person you want managing your budget. I wanted to say that out loud. I trust other people, and I will continue to learn. But I want to say that when we talk about our budgets and we talk about the structural deficit, but we do have a reserve fund, we have a significant reserve fund, because we don't end up spending the money we budget for, which means we really are living within our means, are we not?
That we are living within our means? Yes, but we really spent time this year trying to figure out what happens each year. And you probably heard some discussion of it at the workshop last week.
Yep.
And, you know, we're making the correction in it that we think will forecast within 3.5%, which when you look at a budget our size,
Yeah.
on both expenses and revenues. Now, you know, a lot of times we get, you know, increased reimbursement rates for human services or something that, you know, gives us unexpected revenue, or, you know, something else changes. But we do have a healthy reserve fund, but you know, by more accurately budgeting this year, we won't have the slack in the budget next year.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, I feel good about some of the things that we were able to do. We've got a lot of work to do between 2026 and 2027, assuming we get through this budget. And I do think 2027's got some flags on it. We might be in a tougher position related to reserve funds.
Thank you. And I understand that, you know, we have the maintenance that has not been done, and we probably need to manage that. But the other piece that we need to keep in mind that I think you're alluding to is the flexibility or the questionability about grant funding that's going to be coming in. And when you are able to look at this picture, it shows how much of the money comes from grant money. And that grant money being uncertain in the future may be a problem for us, and that's something we need to consider. But relative to the county tax that that we're talking about, we're not saying, oh my gosh, we're drowning in debt, we need this money. And that's what I wanted to dissuade everybody of. That's not what this is about. So that's what I want. One thing I want. Then the next question is a completely different topic. Have the instrument situation been resolved?
I believe.
In the last couple of days. So I don't want to misstate. I can tell you an agreement was drafted, and they were trying to get an inventory of the instruments in the coat room.
Thank you very much for chasing that issue. That's something I hear about.
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
I do too. Just in case, at the instruments that were at the Fox Cities campus used by the Fox Cities band, we were working with them because they're legally in the possession of the county. We certainly wanted them to continue to be able to use them. It was complicated, but we're trying to make it all work for everybody.
Thank you.
Supervisor Holt.
That was along the lines of my point as well. I did receive a thank you note from the people that I work with in that community band group. They're thankful that you all bird dogged that for them. And there was a special shout out to Kobe for reaching out directly to them. Very helpful.
Great.
Supervisor Laux.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My understanding of the general fund is because we are the taxpayer of last resort, like we have to pay the cities to make them whole if somebody forecloses on or if somebody defaults on their property and does not pay the taxes. It's like we have that money sitting there in case of another 2008, 2009 crisis, and we have to pay the cities, all of the cities in Winnebago County for the properties. Is that true? Is that what that's for? Actually, Fari was. Does anybody know?
We'll have to, I understand your question. We'll have to get back to you.
Okay.
Vice Chairman Fari has
Yeah, Vice Chairman Farr is.
Thank you. I can give you at least my limited knowledge of that. If a property is foreclosed on because they haven't paid their sales tax, it is true at some point the county will have to make the municipalities whole. That's correct, yes. But I believe it's all municipalities, it'll be cities, towns, and villages. However, we get into this issue of the county selling the property and the restrictions the state government has now imposed on us, I believe, through a lawsuit, as I recall. How that impacts the county, I'm not sure. I think Mary Ann Miller might have that answer.
So I think we're talking about Tyler versus Hennepin again. I cannot give you the answer as to whether any of the proceeds, the proceeds that are owed to the county that we are entitled to would go into the general fund. Maybe our finance director would know that, but I don't know where the monies go. But I can tell you, as I've told you all, with Tyler versus Hennepin, and it's a United States Supreme Court case,
Okay.
if the county takes a property because of failure to pay taxes, all right, the county is entitled to what it owes and nothing more. So if it sells a property for more than what it was owed, that extra money is not entitled to be left in the county. And we are in the middle of actually a federal lawsuit regarding extra proceeds. But in terms of the money that you're talking about that the county is owed, I don't know if it goes to the general fund. I don't know where it goes.
Finance Director?
Couple of issues that we're talking about here. One is if you're talking about property taxes that people go on default on, that is basically the county absorbs that and we have to try to collect that. There are other costs that go into properties that are delinquent on taxes. If the city of Oshkosh raises a house, they will add that onto the delinquency to be collected. However, when that property is sold and we don't sell it for the full amount of the price, there is a percentage split between the county and the city then bears the cost of that demolition. So it's not, the general fund is not really for the purpose of taxes and delinquent taxes. The general fund is for the county to be able to go forward for 3 or 4 months of expenses if something were to happen where we didn't get our federal funding anymore. If we had a disaster, a lot of things that general fund is for, which is why we have a fund reserve policy, which was passed by the previous board in the March 2025 meeting on what that is for. And we have a policy that says we need to have 20 to 30% of an unassigned general fund balance. Anything over that goes to a opportunity fund. So there's a whole big procedure and policy, but the general fund, unassigned general fund, is for the county for unknown events or for 3 to 4 months of expenses to go forward.
Everybody clear?
Supervisor Stafford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since we're talking about money, question for you, where are we with the interest on the Spirit Fund? Where are we at in terms of the total? And have there been any discussions on how that money is going to be allocated within the ARPA Commission or Spirit Committee, whatever you want to call it? Thank you.
I can answer that, and I'll probably, be feeling the stare of the board chair since I said I would. We met a couple of weeks ago. I believe there's $3.5 million in interest, roughly. And we do have a Spirit Fund item coming up at the October board meeting that passed the Spirit Fund. I was advised at the last Spirit Fund committee to propose both a criteria for county-related projects that we wanted to see
come forward, because the remaining funds were agreed upon, from this board would not go towards community projects, but would go towards county purpose or county initiatives. We're working on that, and I think it was TBD ASAP is where we left it, so I need to get back to Chairman Egan on the time, meaning that we're going to schedule the meeting, and try to have both the criteria and some projects.
One follow-up question then.
Yeah.
I actually don't recall off the top of my head, how much money do we have remaining, not including the 3.5 that you spoke to? But I don't think we've committed to that county-specific bucket, have we? There's a little bit left there? And how much is that?
Was it, I thought, was the whole pot 10?
I thought it was around, the whole pot was around 11.
11?
But that's
So-
Including the interest?
Including the interest, and then if you remember the $500,000 that Nova had given back, or
Right.
didn't accept, gave back, that was one of the nonprofits that had, received Spirit Fund dollars, and I think that was a couple months ago.
Right. So one more follow-up then. On that Nova Fund, thank you, because I had that to ask as well. Is the plan then to go back to committee and reallocate that to another nonprofit then? Or is that yet to be discussed?
I think it's yet to be discussed. That was my first Spirit Fund rodeo, and I think, I think we want to be deliberate about the opportunities that we have, with those dollars, especially with the interest that's been accrued, that I hope I can present to you at the October meeting. What I think is a pretty innovative and creative initiative, utilizing resources that, would not have existed if not for the interest accrued on it. I know that there's a lot of interest in funding individual capital projects with some of that money. Not enough to do the kind of big things that we're talking about, but what my goal was to come up with what's the best way to create a criteria for, the remaining dollars. I think I got some feedback from some of the, Spirit Fund committee members and maybe some supervisors in general that feel like maybe it's run its course and we should just spend all the money and be done with it. Others feel like we should be more, cautious and save it for opportunities that may be more unique.
Okay. And since I have 58 seconds, I want to ask
Oh,
one more
sorry.
follow-up then. Has there been any discussion about using these funds to help defer maintenance costs of buildings? We're talking about, boy, we really have this issue and we have $11 million sitting here. Has that been part of the conversation?
Yeah, I think that first group that I was just discussing that thought it should go towards county projects highlighted, infrastructure. If you have $10 million, we'd be able to reduce our $67 million of deferred maintenance by $10 million, which is something, or $10 million off of $350 million, which is something. I think that, the people that, there's more support. I think a lot of people like to point at a project and say, let's, utilize the resources we have for, a road or a bridge or a project, of need. So I think when I, go to facilities next week and, maybe we'll have set up our next meetings to talk about this. I talked to Director Elder about, working on a phase one and talking to Supervisor Hins and, some of the other members of that committee. We can talk about that, looking at that as a pot of money.
Thank you.
Supervisor Holt, did I miss you once? I see your name's up there twice, I'm sorry.
So I have two thoughts on the financial picture. One is related to how we're budgeting differently this year, not just from a priority-based budgeting, but taking out some of the slack. We talked about not budgeting for being fully staffed, but rather budgeting for what we think we could staff if all the stars aligned for our human resources group and getting the right candidates in the door and so forth. Even that, though, so that's just a basic one, even that, though, has risks. So I'm not saying it's not the right thing to do. I absolutely believe it is. But as I used to tell my colleagues in Kimberly-Clark, when we were trying to be plus or minus 1%, we were just as likely to be over as under. And we will get there, if not this year. With practice, we will get there. And so we create more risk for ourselves. So that's the first thing. The second thing is related, and that's, like I said, neither here nor there. But the next thing I wanted to mention was regarding the priority-based budgeting. I think it's really important for us to take a hard look at the programs we've prioritized as a board. And I know there are certain programs that we're all behind 100%. And then there are certain programs that you've got about 50 to 60% of us behind on one side or the other. I think it's really important for us as we go forward in priority-based budgeting to start look at which programs are funded and which aren't. And I know that that's your ultimate plan, but I think as a board, we need to be aligned on what the most important things are that we're aligned on and that we think are important, and it'll take us some time.
Thank you. Anyone else up, Julie? Okay, I believe that's all for you tonight. Thank you. Being that we just talked about this, I just want to remind you again that the budget workshop video, for those of you that weren't there, is on the county website again. And this evening, I want to excuse Doug Nelson and Jeff Lutz, and want to welcome back Supervisor Burrow. Happy to have you back. So, and also to the supervisors, remember to bring the 2026 budget presentation proposed and the 2026 budget, proposed budget detail book to any committee meetings or whatever. So please remember to bring them when you've got them. They ask you to do that, so. Okay, that's all I guess I really have. Oh, I know, we have one other question. The county board tour, you know, if we go, because we can't get a bus till 4:30, is it? 4:30? 4:30, and the Human Services has asked us to come to like Oshkosh and Neenah. Now that's pretty much going to take care of by that time, by the time the bus and that gets back. So if you want to go there, if everybody be satisfied going to the Oshkosh and Neenah Human Services, that's what we'll plan on. So yes, no. Then do you want to eat before, eat afterwards, take a break and eat? I know we did last time. Supervisor Nelson's son did a really good job and fed us, but we won't be over in that part of the woods this time. So, so does everyone want to be on their own and go, or should we try and find some place between Neenah and Oshkosh and find a quick place to eat? Whatever, we'll find a spot. So, okay, we'll try and find a spot, a quick spot that we can go in and eat, and we'll plan on it to visit Oshkosh and Neenah. The clerk will get you out a thing. We'll have to decide on where we're going to meet. I'm not exactly sure. Probably the Coughlin Center is as good as any. So, but we'll get you out something on that. And that's the plans then for that. Okay. Honoring retired county employees. Yes, ma'am.
Did I miss an email that has the budget, the stuff that we got?
You want to talk into your mic, please?
Yeah. Is that
into your mic? Thank you.
Is that stuff online yet? And did I miss an email that contained that stuff?
Jamie said it would be in the reports, but I don't have them.
Which stuff are you talking about?
The stuff that you told us to bring to our committees.
Oh.
As
We can
opposed to
ask
bringing
back
that, I
there.
prefer
Kobe,
to
is
bring.
this stuff online they're asking?
We're gonna get it online
Awesome, thank you.
That's the best I can do for you.
I don't have the keys to the internet.
Okay. All right, thank you. Honoring retiring county employees, commendation for Terry Schrader. Supervisor Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to accept 0184092025 for the commendation of Terry Schrader.
Motion is made and seconded. Clerk, want to read it?
On April 15th, 1998, Terry started with Winnebago County Human Services as a CPS social worker. On June 20th of 2005, Terry transferred to Youth Justice where she remained until her retirement. Terry has been an invaluable team member to her coworkers and the families she supported. Her patience and compassion is an inspiration to others. Terry built trusting relationships and stayed committed to advocating and supporting youth and families, significantly impacting their lives. Terry understands the impact trauma has on families and was a strong voice helping others understand the need to treat the youth and families fairly and with compassion. Terry built many relationships during her 27 years. She was respected by area schools, personnel, law enforcement, and service providers. Terry has always been a strong leader and found the positives in her work. We thank her for her dedication to Winnebago County and to the families she supported.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. Consent agenda. I need a motion to accept that with remembering that number 8 has been pulled from the consent agenda. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Carried. We'll go right to ordinance 0183092025, amend Winnebago County General Code Chapter 7.02, speed limit regulations to include proposed modifications. Supervisor Nussbaum.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for ordinance 0183-09-2025.
Motion is made and seconded.
Okay, Supervisor Brenda found a mistake here, so we gotta fix that. So I moved to, on line 22, to delete easterly and insert westerly.
Okay. So, did you all hear what he's just doing? Going from easterly to westerly. Get our right, the direction straight.
Is that an amendment?
Right. Yes, sir. No, no. That way, he was told he has to do it this way. He was told it has to be done this way.
Thank you.
Yep. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Carried. Okay, now we have to go back on the ordinance. So all those in favor of the ordinance go signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Carried. All right. So now we're in the right direction going home. All right. Business resolution 017908-2025 authorizes submission of an ordinance establishing a Winnebago County sales and use tax. Vice Chairman Fari.
Am I live? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of Resolution 017908-2025.
And that lacks for a second.
It
so
does,
it's
thank
dead.
you.
I'm open for adjournment, Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will move to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.